Okay, so get this. Imagine wrestling with a really tough math problem,
Yeah.
right?
Uh,
But it's not just any math problem. It's sent to you, like formally, in a letter. And not just any letter. We're talking a letter from Eratosthenes,
oh, wow.
the head of the Library of
The
Alexandria,
Library of Alexandria.
to King Ptolemy.
Okay, now that's a letter and a half.
That's what we're diving into today. This
Yeah.
2,000-year-old letter about, get this, doubling a cube's volume. But you got to keep all the proportions the same.
Oh, keeping it proportional. Okay, so how do you even begin to?
Exactly. And that's the pull.
It makes you wonder why go through such a formal back and forth for something so, well, niche, you know?
That's the really interesting part. This isn't just some casual chat between math geeks.
Right.
It's a big deal. A formal letter to the top dog in Egypt tells us this problem. It wasn't just some intellectual exercise, you know. It meant something.
Absolutely. This was a power move,
Yeah.
sending a message about just how vital this problem was back then.
Exactly. And Eratosthenes, he could have just jumped right into the math, you know, equations, all that.
Sure.
But he goes a different route. Much more, well, engaging. He starts with a story.
A story.
Yeah, about King Minos.
Okay, Minos, like the labyrinth and the Minotaur.
No, the one and only. So Minos wants this amazing tomb built for his son Glaucus.
Makes sense.
Right. Grand gesture, fit for a king. So he tells the builders, double the size. But
Oh.
big time disaster. Minos, he didn't get this whole tricky math thing about scaling things up proportionally.
So it all went wrong because of bad math.
Epically wrong. And that's the story Eratosthenes opens with.
Which, come to think of it, is pretty clever. He's not just telling a random Greek myth. He's subtly linking Ptolemy to Minos.
Both kings, both with power.
Exactly. It's like a subtle hint to Ptolemy. Hey, you want to avoid a similar architectural mishap?
Learn from Minos' mistakes.
Precisely. And it reminds us that even way back then, grand monuments, they were statements, they were all about power. And to get those right, you needed serious math skills.
It's amazing how he ties all these threads together. And to up the ante even more, he brings up other big names, geniuses, who struggled with this very same problem.
Oh, like who?
He mentions Hippocrates.
Wait, Hippocrates? The doctor?
Not the doctor, no. We're talking Hippocrates, the mathematician. Easy mistake to make, though.
Okay, right. Different Hippocrates.
And he brings up Plato's Academy, that famous center of learning in Athens.
Plato's Academy. Now, that's a name to drop. He wasn't messing around.
Not at all. And by bringing them into the mix, he's doing something really clever.
What's that?
Positioning himself as the heir to that legacy, that intellectual tradition.
Ah, I see. So he's saying, I'm carrying the torch, but here in Alexandria with Ptolemy's backing.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, look, all those great minds, they grappled with this problem. And now I, Eratosthenes, here in Alexandria, I've cracked the code.
And with that comparison, he's subtly elevating Alexandria as the new hub for intellectual pursuit.
He's making a statement, for sure. So he set the scene, right? Brought in these big names, big ideas.
Yeah.
But he doesn't just stop at name dropping. He actually goes on to critique those previous attempts.
Oh, he criticizes them. That's kind of bold.
It is. And he's especially, shall we say, underwhelmed by the solutions from those fancy pants philosophers over at Plato's Academy.
Ouch. What's he saying about them?
Basically, that their solutions were just too, I don't know, up in the clouds, too abstract. All theory, no practicality.
So they couldn't quite bridge that gap between pure thought and actual, real-world use.
Exactly. And that's where Eratosthenes sees his opening. He's all about a more, well, hands-on approach.
And I bet this is where his big invention comes in.
You know it. He just drops this bombshell. He's invented this device, a mechanism, he calls it.
A mechanism, okay, to solve this ancient math problem.
The one and only. And get this, he doesn't just say, oh, I figured it out. He describes this thing in detail.
Like actual instructions on how it works.
Blueprints, practically. It's like he's saying, Ptolemy, my man, check this out. You can build this thing yourself.
That's amazing. A true testament to his confidence in his solution. Not just some theoretical musing, but a tangible tool.
Exactly. And that gets you thinking, right, if he's going to all this trouble, this thing must have some real-world uses.
And that's where things get even more interesting, because he lays it all out for Ptolemy. This wasn't just some intellectual exercise for Eratosthenes. It had practical applications.
Like what? Give us the rundown.
Okay, so imagine this. Magnificent temples, awe-inspiring
The
altars.
kind of stuff that makes a king look really, really good.
Precisely. Eratosthenes is saying, with my invention, these structures will be not just beautiful, but mathematically perfect, showcasing your power and piety as a ruler.
It's like he's saying, invest in knowledge, invest in me, and your kingdom will be the envy of the ancient world.
Exactly. But wait, there's more. He doesn't just stop at grand temples and religious structures. He gets into the nitty-gritty of everyday life, like measuring grain.
Grain.
Think about it. Accurate measurements are essential for trade, for resource management, for a thriving economy. Eratosthenes is basically saying, my invention can bring order and fairness to your entire kingdom.
Wow, this is bigger than I thought. From temples to trade, he's really selling this thing.
Oh, he's not done yet. He goes even further, suggesting this invention could be used to improve, get this, catapults.
Catapults, like the weapon?
The very same.
Yeah.
Essential military tech in the ancient world. Eratosthenes knew this would have caught Ptolemy's attention.
Of course. Every king wants a leg up on the battlefield. So what started as a letter about doubling a cube has now become a demonstration of how knowledge, real practical knowledge, can make a kingdom stronger, richer, and more powerful.
It's a brilliant strategy, really. A subtle yet powerful message to the king. Invest in knowledge, invest in me, and your reign will be one of prosperity and dominance.
It's like a sales pitch disguised as a scholarly letter, and honestly, I'm here for it.
As you should be. But hold on, we're not done yet. There's one final piece to this puzzle that we need to unpack. Eratosthenes, he's a clever guy. He doesn't just end the letter there. He adds a little something extra, a flourish, you could say.
You mean the poem. He follows up all this intricate math and practical application talk with a poem. A poem. After all that, it's almost like he wanted to make sure his message really stuck, appeal to all kinds of minds.
Exactly. It wasn't just any poem, though. It was an epigram, super popular back in ancient Greece.
Oh, right, epigrams. Vague memory from college lit class, maybe? What are they again?
Short, punchy, designed to really hit you with the main idea, like a Twitter thread before Twitter.
Okay, so like a message perfectly tailored to a busy guy like Ptolemy. He could get the gist without poring over pages of text.
Precisely. He's presenting a solution, a device, A&D, a poem to really drive the point home.
So what's he saying in this epigram anyway? What's the message he wants to stick in Ptolemy's mind?
Picture this. Ptolemy's all in, right? Commissions this cube doubling contraption from Eratosthenes.
Sure, it makes sense. King wants the smartest toys, right?
But it's not just a toy, it's a symbol made out of bronze, built to last, displayed publicly for everyone to see.
A permanent reminder of Eratosthenes' genius.
And underneath, etched in stone for the ages, is this epigram. Not just about the invention itself, but about the ingenuity happening right there in Alexandria under Ptolemy.
Okay, so it's like a billboard for brainpower. But wasn't there something about King Minos in the epigram too? How does that fit in?
You're right. Eratosthenes brings that whole story back around full circle.
Wait, remind me, how did that story go again?
King Minos wants to build a magnificent tomb for his son, tells the builders to double the size, but he misses that whole proportional scaling thing.
And it all goes wrong. Yeah. Okay, I remember.
So Eratosthenes, in this epigram, he directly references that blunder, that architectural fail.
But this time, there's a solution.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, see, Ptolemy, with me by your side, you won't be that king, the one who messed up because of bad math. You'll be known for your triumphs.
Subtle. I like it. But there's one more little detail that always gets me. He uses this very specific word, panakes.
Ah, yes. Panakes. Easy to miss, but it's a loaded word.
Why? What does it mean?
Think of it like this. The Library of Alexandria, it wasn't just a warehouse full of scrolls, right?
Right. It was the center of knowledge, the Google of its day.
Exactly. And Panakes directly connects to their system of cataloging, organizing all that knowledge.
So when Eratosthenes uses that word, he's linking his invention, this very practical tool, to...
It's a vast project of the library itself. Like he's saying, this invention, just a taste of what we're capable of here.
It's like those just wait, there's more infomercials. He's selling Ptolemy on the power of knowledge, the power of the library itself, and himself, of course.
Of course. You know, this letter, this whole deep dive, it's really shown as Eratosthenes wasn't just some math whiz.
He was a scholar, an inventor, a bit of a politician even.
And a pretty good storyteller when you think about it.
Right. That's what made this whole thing so compelling. He understood that to make knowledge powerful, to really make it stick, you have to connect with people. You know, tell a good story, make it relevant. That's what Eratosthenes did so brilliantly all those centuries ago.
Absolutely, and that's what makes this letter, a seemingly simple piece of writing about a mathematical problem, such a fascinating window into the ancient world. It reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge, the drive to solve problems, and the power of a good story, those are timeless, universal things that connect us across millennia.
It makes you wonder, what other treasures from the past are still out there waiting to be discovered, waiting to tell their stories? For the deep dive, I'm your name.
I am your name. Thanks for joining us as we explored the fascinating intersection of math, power, and storytelling in the ancient world.